So have a good day, everyone. So for this time, we will be tackling the chapter 2, which is the teaching in assessing speaking. Specifically, the lesson 1, which is the understanding speaking. So speaking and its importance. Speaking is the process of building and sharing meaning through the use of verbal and nonverbal symbols in a variety of contexts. It simply means that speaking is not confined with verbal but also nonverbal. So there is what we call the sign languages that speakers use to share their ideas and to give information to others. Speaking is also a complex because speakers are involved in a rapid and dynamic process incurring a high element of doing various things at the same time. So it is a complex thing because speaking involves creativity and critical thinking. Speakers don't just speak but also they speak with heart and their mind to formulate a thought or an information to share with others. So further, Johnson describes speaking as a combinatorial skill that involves doing various things at the same time, including nonverbal communication skills like listening, eye contact, and body language. So it is a combinatorial skill because speaking is connected, or it has a connection with eye contact and body language. So these are the things that should be accompanied when speaking for us to give more emphasis on the informations that we want to give to others. So the next one, why do we speak? So people speak for the following reasons. Number 1, to convey thoughts. So we usually speak because we want to share something or we want to express ourselves. Number 2 is to persuade people. So there are instances that we speak because we want to prove ourselves or we have a claim on a particular issues and we want to convince them. So persuading comes in it. So the third one is to inspire people and spur them into action. So we sometimes speak because we want to share or we want to inspire them and to take action on themselves. And the example that I could give in this particular reason is that when an individual is sharing their study tips or their ways on how to study effectively, and they want to inspire students to do the same for them to be effective also when it comes to their study habits. Alright, so for this time, we will dive into the skills that need to be developed for effective speaking in a second language. So we have here the 3 skills, which are the vocabulary, the grammar, and the pronunciation. So the first one, the vocabulary. To be able to speak effectively, you have to acquire enough words to say what you want to say and to make you more capable of delivering exactly what you want to convey. Being a good speaker means constantly expanding your vocabulary. So the main reason why we need to develop this skill is that when we are trying to use our second language or target language and we are out of words, we are tempted to use our native language into code switch, and that is inevitable. That is why we need to expand and develop our vocabulary into a broader level so that we could give informations and share our ideas more accurately in using the target language. The second one is the grammar. The fewer grammar mistakes you make, the more effective is your speech. However, your grammar doesn't need to be 100% accurate to be an effective speaker. Why? Because the thought and the method or the ways on how you share your ideas is more important rather than being mindful or conscious on how did you use your grammar. Because if you are too conscious on how do you use your grammar, you might actually it might actually lead to loss of words or out of words that may ruin your speech. Even if it doesn't have to be 100% accurate, we still need to be cautious in using the grammar in delivering our speech because it might lead to confusion to both parties, which is the speaker and the receiver. So from that, even if it doesn't have to be 100% accurate, we still need to make sure that our grammar is understandable and for the receiver, and they could receive the information that you want to convey accurately and appropriately. So for the third one is the pronunciation. It is divided into 2 large categories, the segmentals and suprasegmentals. Segmentals are also called phonemes. Individual sounds of the consonants and vowels are segmentals. The segmentals features of speech are discrete units that can be auditory identified and the speech streams such as consonants and vowels. So these pronunciation skill needs to be developed in using the second language, and it is important because if we don't know how to speak or pronounce the particular words in a second language, we could um, misunderstood the words, the meaning. We could change the meaning of the word. So, for instance, if the word is desert, we could not say dessert because the meaning will divert or will change if our pronunciation for that particular word is wrong. So, these three skill is very important in using the target language for us to be an effective speaker and for us to share our information and for us to convey message to other people more effectively and efficiently. Okay, so this time we will go to the second category of pronunciation, which is the suprasegmental features, or also known as the prosody features. We refer to the phonetic and phonological aspects of spoken language that cannot necessarily be reduced to individual consonants and vowels. Generally extends across several segments or syllables. So they are important for marking all kinds of meanings in particular speakers' attitudes or stances. So the tone or like how the speaker pronounce a certain words really make an impact on delivering their speech, and also what they are saying or the person they are saying it to, and making out how one utterances relates to one another, and through this, competent speakers possesses various skills of pronunciation to emphasize and make the communicative effect of their speech more effective. So, in utilizing these pronunciation categories, which are the suprasegmentals and segmentals, make an impact in delivering their speech for them to be more effective in giving informations to others. So yeah, that would be all for my part. Let's wait for the next reporter, Miss Janice Katampatan.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So, right now we are going to we're going to talk about the speech registers. So, first, we are going to define what is a speech register. So, speech registers refer to the level of formality and style and speaking anchored on different situations and context. And in determining the type of speech register, you have to consider the purpose of your speech or the audience. So you have to determine who you are speaking to or the occasion, like determining what is the event. And in another words, speech register describes the way a person speaks in relation to his or her audience. So, yeah, speech register is a style of speech or language that a person uses in a particular situation. So, it's like adjusting your language based on whom you're talking to or where you are. For example, you might use a formal register. We're going to discuss this one later. You might use formal register when you are at a job interview, or casual register naman when you are talking to your friends or colleagues. So next slide, we have here the types of speech registration. So first we have here the frozen or fixed registration. So we're going to read the definition of the first one. Okay, frozen registration. This type of registration is often used in very formal ceremonies and must be said the, the same each time we say it. This register is frozen in time, form, and content. This also describes speech that is formalized, that is often produced via recitation rather than spontaneous speech production. So this can also be described as ritualistic speech and is sometimes called static register because the utterances are spoken exactly the same each time. So it is also rarely or never changes. It includes old grammar and vocabulary It is cultural and is often learned. We have here some examples of um, frozen register. First, we have the Philippine National Anthem, the Lord's Prayer, biblical verses, famous speeches, and the preamble of the Philippine Constitution. Next slide, we have here the formal register. Of course, of course, we're going to define what is formal register. So this type often follows a prescriptive format. It is used in formal settings and is usually impersonal. So this includes academic language and is characterized by a more structured and professional tone using precise and sophisticated vocabulary and adhering to specific grammar rules. So, formal register is commonly used in academic writing, business correspondence, official documents, and other formal situations where professionalism and clarity are important. So, formal register is one way in nature, impersonal, and follows a prescriptive format, uses complete sentences, and avoids slang. Of course, when we say slang, it refers to informal and non standard language that is commonly used in specific social groups or casual conversation with your friends, colleagues. Like, for example, we have here the words chill, YOLO or you only live once. We have woke, or the definition of woke is like being aware of social and political issues. Fam, savage, and yung mga ganun na words, like slang words. And fewer contractions, use of have not instead of haven't. Okay. The third one is consultative register. So this is the standard form of communication. The speaker uses the participation and feedback of the listener. It is characterized by a more interactive and cooperative tone, where the participants engage in respectful and balanced conversation. So it is commonly used in consultations, of course. It is used to seek and provide advices, recommendations, opinions, and suggestions. Like, for example, conversation between the doctor and his patient, or a lawyer and his client, a teacher and his student, or a counselor and his client. So, kagaya sa definition kanina na may participation yung listener. So, the fourth one, we have the casual register. So, we're going to read the definition of the fourth one. So, casual register is an informal speech used between friends or colleagues who have things to share, and there is free and easy participation of both speaker and the listener. It is characterized by a more casual tone, and they also use simpler vocabulary. This one is commonly used in everyday conversation, social interactions, and informal written communication. And also, here, yung mga slang words and even vulgarities are just normal, like how you talk with your friends. The fifth one and the last one, we have here the intimate register. So the last type is a conversation between two very close individuals. It is described by an economy of words with a high chance of nonverbal communication. It is characterized by a high level of familiarity, emotional connection, and deep conversation between the individuals involved. So in this type, language is often more personal, affectionate, and expressive. It may include terms of endearment, like halimbawa between mag-asawa, like halimbawa, hey sweetheart, honey, babe, darling, and also inside jokes. Like for example, your girlfriend would say, "Remember that we got lost and ended up in the tiny cafe?" Like intimate conversation between individuals. So another one is emotional expressions, like you tell your mother or siblings na I'm so grateful to have you in my life. And also intimate register includes non-verbal communication. Like for example, facial expressions, body language and gestures that convey and deepen the connection between two individuals. So for example, warm hug and gentle touch. So that's it. So we have discussed what is speech register and also the types of speech register. We have the five speech types of speech register. We have the frozen register, formal register, casual register, consultative register, and the fifth one is the intimate register. So thank you for listening. And for our next reporter, we have Miss Romaika Dani.
So now we are going to talk about the Speech Act and speech delivery. Speech Act and speech delivery are both crucial aspects of effective communication, especially in public speaking and interpersonal interaction. So the Speech Act, it refers to an utterance expressed by an individual that presents donation and performs an action as well. So John Austin and Scarl are two proponent philosophers who contributed to the theory of speech acts, a branch of philosophy of language that explores the ways in which utterances can perform actions beyond simply conveying information. So the first category is the locutionary act. The locutionary act is an act of making an expressive meaning. This is an utterance that produces literal meaning based on what is said by the speaker. Also, the locutionary act is an act of saying something. It is the literal meaning of an utterance. It refers to the basic act of producing words or sentences that have a certain meaning. For example, when someone says, "It's raining outside," the locutionary act is simply the act of uttering the words, "It's raining outside," and conveying the literal meaning of that statement. The next one is illocutionary act. It is an act performed by saying something, such as making a request, giving an order, making a promise, and also apologizing. It refers to the intended function or purpose behind an utterance, beyond its literal meaning. So, when we compare it to the locutionary acts, which focus on the literal content of the speech, illocutionary acts are both the speaker's intention in performing the speech act. So, the last category is the perlocutionary act. It is an effect of our words that entails a person to do something. This is what the heater does in response to the utterance. For example, the locution is the "stop smoking." The phrase "stop smoking" can be understood as having prelicutionary effect on the listener, which is the impact or outcome on the utterance on the listener. In this case, the prelicutionary effect might vary depending on the listener. For example, the listener may feel motivated to quit smoking after hearing the directive or the locution "stop smoking." So, in the other listener, they may feel offended or defensive, especially if they are not ready or willing to quit. So now we are here in the speech delivery. Speech delivery refers to the manner in which a speaker presents their speech or oral presentation to an audience or a large amount of audience. It encompasses various aspects such as tone of voice, pace, volume, clarity, the gestures, and the body language. So the effective speech delivery plays a crucial role in engaging the audience, conveying the message clearly and leaving a lasting impression. So the good speech delivery involves being confident, how you articulate the words, and expressive, while also adapting to the needs and preferences of the audience. Practice, preparation, and awareness of one's delivery style are key factors in delivering a successful speech. There are various types of speech delivery. One of these is the impromptu speaking. So the impromptu speaking involves delivering a message on the spur of moment without preparation and predetermination. So impromptu speeches delivered without prior preparation or rehearsal, often spontaneously in response to a prompt or a question. The speaker is provided on the spot with a topic and she or he will say something about it. The example of impromptu speaking is when you give speech on a birthday party, or in a simple, it is in an oral recitation in a class. The next one is extemporaneous. Extemporaneous speaking consists of delivering a speech in a conversational fashion using notes. So speeches delivered with some preparation and planning, unlike in the impromptu, but without reading directly from a script. So in the extemporaneous speaking, speakers use notes or an outline to guide them, allowing for a more conversational and flexible delivery style. So in the extemporaneous speaking, this style is the most preferred by the professional and experienced public speakers. It is because this method of delivery has a more natural flow. This is also the style of speech delivery for speaking contests. So the next type of speech delivery is the manuscript. Manuscript speaking consists of reading a fully scripted speech. When we compare it to the extemporaneous, it has also a preparation and it is also planned. But this manuscript or manuscript speaking, it is a prepared script or manuscript. This style ensures precision and accuracy but may lack spontaneity and audience engagement. It is very useful when a message needs to be delivered in a precise word, like when our president deliver a message in a State of the Nation address. This is used when people read important in the correct order. Statements, or when people delivered reports in public that would require exact words. The last one is the memorized speaking. The memorized speaking is delivered a script speech from memory. So the speeches delivered from memory, where the speakers has to memorize the entire content beforehand. This style can be impressive but requires extensive rehearsal and may seem less natural. When we say it seems less natural, maybe it when they use this memorized speaking, the speakers may become overly focused on recalling the exact wording of their memorized script, leading to a rigid and mechanical delivery that lacks spontaneity. Also, memorized speeches leaves little room for improvisation or adaptation to the unexpected changes in the audience reaction or the speaking environment. Another one is when the speakers use memorized speech. It may also the more focused on reciting memorized lines may appear disconnected from the audience, as they might not be fully engaged in the moment or responsive to the audience feedback. Another one is while memorized speeches can be impressive in terms of accuracy and precision, they may come across as less natural due to the emphasis on rote memorization and the limitations that imposes on spontaneity and adaptability. So that was the 4 types of delivery speech. The first one is extemporaneous, the impromptu, the manuscript, and the memorized speech.